The number one habit wrecking your prostate after age 60, you know the feeling. It's the middle of the night, and that urgent, frustrating signal from your body wakes you up. Again, it's not a gentle nudge. It's a demanding alarm that you simply can't ignore, pulling you from the deep, restorative sleep you so desperately need. You stumble to the bathroom, your feet cold on the floor, your mind already calculating how much sleep you're losing. You stand there, waiting, and the stream is weak. It's slow, it starts and stops, and you never really feel that satisfying sense of relief, of being truly empty. You shuffle back to bed, your mind now wide awake with frustration, only to repeat the entire draining ritual just a couple of hours later. The night becomes a fragmented series of naps, punctuated by these demoralizing trips to the bathroom. If you're a man over 60, this probably sounds painfully, exhaustingly familiar. It's a narrative that has been handed down through generations. You've likely been told it's just a normal, inevitable part of getting older and enlarged prostate, a condition you're supposed to just accept and learn to live with. But what if that's not the whole story? What if one specific, very private habit is taking what could be a manageable issue and turning it into a nightly nightmare? What if the very thing you do for privacy, for stress relief, for a moment of personal release is the main irritant? The hidden antagonist that is constantly inflaming your prostate and systematically destroying your sleep, your energy, and your quality of life? We're going to explore how this one factor might be the missing link in your quest for relief. Now, let's be very clear, the medical community has established that as men age, the prostate naturally gets bigger. It's a condition known as benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, for lots of men. The symptoms are indeed pretty mild. Perhaps a slight increase in nighttime urination, or a stream that's just a little less forceful than it was in their youth. But for millions of others, the symptoms are a constant, nagging source of worry, discomfort, and profound frustration. They dictate your life, from mapping out bathroom locations whenever you leave the house to creating a subtle, ever-present anxiety that hums in the background of your daily life. You've probably tried all the standard advice, meticulously cutting back on liquids before bed, forgoing that evening cup of tea or glass of wine, avoiding caffeine and alcohol with religious discipline. Perhaps you're even on medication, prescribed by your doctor, and yet, despite your best efforts, the pressure in your lower abdomen, the weak, unsatisfying stream, and that maddening, constant urge to go just don't let up. That's because you might be overlooking a huge piece of the puzzle, not a disease in the scary sense. Not something you're eating or drinking, but a physical action, a mechanical habit that can directly and repeatedly aggravate an already sensitive and enlarged prostate. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on what that habit is. More importantly, we're going to show you how making a small, simple adjustment, a change you can implement as soon as tonight, could bring you the kind of incredible, tangible relief you thought was no longer possible. Section 1, the aging. Prostate, a vulnerable gland. Before we unveil the specific habit, it's critically important to understand what's happening inside your body. Particularly after the age of 60, the prostate gland, which in a young man is normally about the size of a walnut, sits in a very crucial location right below the bladder and surrounding the urethra. Later in life, this gland often goes through a significant growth spurt. This enlargement, BPH, is incredibly common. It's not a form of cancer, and it doesn't increase your risk of cancer, but it is a pervasive part of male aging. Statistics show that BPH affects about half of all men between the ages of 51 and 60. That number then skyrockets, jumping to around 80% for men over 70 and hitting 90% in men older than 80 as the prostate grows. It begins to put pressure on and squeeze the urethra, the tube that carries urine from the bladder out of the body. Imagine a garden hose that someone is slowly and steadily clamping down on. That physical obstruction is the direct cause of all those frustrating urinary symptoms. The frequent need to urinate, especially at night, a condition called nocturia. The weak or hesitant flow. The annoying dribbling after you think you're finished, and that persistent, uncomfortable feeling that your bladder is never quite empty. At its core, it's a straightforward mechanical problem. Doctors have a range of solutions to manage BPH. For mild cases, the approach might be watchful waiting, which involves simply monitoring the symptoms. For more bothersome symptoms, medications are often prescribed. These can include alpha blockers to relax the muscles of the prostate and bladder neck, or 5-alpha reductase inhibitors to help shrink the prostate itself. In severe cases, surgical procedures to remove excess prostate tissue may be recommended. Alongside these medical interventions, lifestyle changes are a big deal. And this is where the conversation around natural health and wellness truly begins. A healthy diet and regular, appropriate exercise can absolutely support your overall prostate health. These are the foundational, essential steps. A diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats can help manage symptoms, while some studies suggest that being overweight can worsen them. These are all important foundational steps that address the internal environment of your body, but they all miss something. They deal with the biochemistry and the structure, but they don't typically factor in any external physical forces you might be applying to this already sensitive, pressurized area. A man with BPH doesn't have the same resilient prostate as a 30-year-old. It's enlarged, it's under pressure, the blood flow might be different, and the tissues and surrounding pelvic floor muscles are often easily irritated. This is exactly where the hidden habit comes into play. It is a source of direct, repetitive physical agitation that most conventional and even natural health advice completely overlooks, and it could be undermining all your other efforts. Section 2. The common enemy when release becomes irritation. So, what is this powerful, overlooked habit? It's masturbation. Now, let's be perfectly and unequivocally clear. Masturbation itself is not the enemy. It is a normal, natural, and healthy part of human sexuality. In fact, a significant body of research suggests that regular ejaculation can be beneficial for long-term prostate health. One large-scale Harvard study, for instance, found that men who ejaculated frequently, 21 or more times a month, had a lower risk of developing prostate cancer. The theory is that this regularity helps flush out seminal fluids, potentially clearing out carcinogens or other substances that could cause issues. A healthy, satisfying sex life is a key component of your overall physical and emotional well-being. The problem, therefore, isn't the act. It's the way you might be doing it, especially as you've gotten older and your prostate has become more vulnerable. The real issue is a technique that is too aggressive, too forceful, or happens with a frequency that doesn't allow the sensitive tissues to recover. For a man with an enlarged, tender prostate, this specific style of habit can be the primary source of the chronic low-grade irritation that keeps your BPH symptoms flaring up day after day, night after night. Think about it logically and mechanically. The prostate is already being squeezed by BPH. The muscles in your pelvic floor, which support the bladder and bowels, are already working overtime to compensate for the obstruction and pressure. Now, add to that a common masturbation style that involves a very tight grip and an aggressive, rapid, piston-like motion. This kind of intense, repetitive physical action doesn't just stay localized. It creates a state of constant, low-grade irritation and tension throughout the entire pelvic region. It can lead to something called pelvic floor hypertonicity. where the muscles are chronically tensed and unable to relax properly. While there's no scientific evidence to suggest that this habit causes BPH, it can absolutely make the existing symptoms significantly worse. It's a classic case of correlation, not causation, but with real-world consequences for your comfort. Many men, if they pay close attention, can notice that their symptoms, like a weaker stream, increased urgency, or a feeling of perineal discomfort, are noticeably worse in the hours or day following more frequent or particularly aggressive self-pleasure. It's precisely like having a sore muscle and deciding to poke and prod it over and over again. You're not causing the original injury, but you are actively preventing it from calming down, keeping it inflamed, and sabotaging the healing process. This is the missing link for so many men who are diligently following their doctor's advice, improving their diet, and still not getting the relief they seek. They are completely unknowingly sabotaging their own recovery on a daily basis. Section 3, the revelation, how the irritation actually happens. Let's break down the mechanics of why and how this happens. It really boils down to two key factors that work in tandem: technique and frequency. First, let's talk technique. A lot of men learn how to masturbate when they're young, in their teens, and then carry that exact same habit, that same muscle memory, through their entire lives without a second thought. Often, this means using a very firm, vice-like grip, what some in the men's health space have dubbed the death grip. In youth, the body is resilient and can handle this. However, over decades, this can actually desensitize the nerve endings in the penis. To achieve the same level of pleasure and reach orgasm, the grip needs to get even tighter, and the motion more forceful and rapid. When you're younger, this has few consequences, but when you have an enlarged and sensitive prostate, this aggressive technique creates a ripple effect. It sends tension, micro-vibrations, and stress through the entire pelvic floor, directly irritating the prostate gland and all the muscles and nerves surrounding it. It's a form of concentrated physical stress on a biological system that's already struggling with the internal pressure of BPH. Second is frequency. While we've established that regular ejaculation is generally a good thing, the concept of too much is entirely relative and changes as your body changes. For a young man, daily ejaculation might cause no issues at all. But for a man in his 60s or 70s with BPH, very frequent ejaculation, especially when paired with that aggressive technique, can lead to temporary but significant pain, inflammation, or discomfort in the prostate area, a condition sometimes referred to as prostatitis or pelvic pain syndrome. It simply doesn't give those irritated tissues enough time to recover and for the inflammation to subside. If you're aggravating your prostate in the morning and then again before bed, you're creating a non-stop vicious cycle of inflammation that feeds directly into your urinary symptoms. That constant urge to pee, the pressure in your lower abdomen, maybe even a burning or aching feeling, these can be your body's way of screaming that the entire area is simply irritated from being mechanically overstimulated. There's also a powerful psychological angle to this that can't be ignored. For many men, especially those from older generations, the act of masturbation can be tied up with deep-seated feelings of guilt, shame, or the need for secrecy. This can lead to a rushed, frantic, almost mechanical act, which only encourages a more aggressive, less mindful, and more tension-filled approach. That mental stress causes the body to tense up, and when combined with the direct physical stress of the act itself, it creates the perfect storm for prostate and pelvic floor irritation. The big revelation here, the paradigm shift, is that your frustrating, sleep-depriving prostate symptoms might not just be an unavoidable, passive consequence of BPH. They could be actively and repeatedly being worsened by a physical habit you've never once stopped to question or adapt. You're not just managing a chronic condition. You may be actively fighting against a daily source of inflammation of your own making. Section 4. The prostate protective diet. Your ultimate guide before we move to the final solution. We must acknowledge a critical pillar of prostate health that works hand in hand with behavioral changes, your diet. The food you eat has a profound impact on inflammation, hormone balance, and cellular health throughout your body, and the prostate is no exception. Adopting a healthy diet isn't just a background detail, it's an active strategy. Let's build your arsenal of prostate protective foods. The core principle is to combat inflammation. BPH is not just a mechanical issue. It's also associated with chronic low-grade inflammation in the prostate tissue. Therefore, an anti-inflammatory diet is key. This starts with incorporating a wealth of immune-boosting foods. Think of a rainbow on your plate. Brightly colored fruits and vegetables are packed with antioxidants and phytonutrients that neutralize damaging free radicals and calm inflammation. Let's get specific. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and kale are superstars. They contain a compound called sulforaphane, which has been shown to have protective effects on prostate cells. Berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries are antioxidant powerhouses. Tomatoes are particularly famous for their lycopene content, a potent antioxidant that concentrates in the prostate tissue. Cooking tomatoes, for instance, in a sauce or paste, actually makes the lycopene more bioavailable for your body to use. Healthy fats are your friends. A typical Western diet is often too high and inflammatory. Omega-6 fatty acids found in many processed foods and vegetable oils, and too low in anti-inflammatory omega-3 south. To shift this balance, focus on foods rich in omega-3 south, such as fatty fish, like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds are also excellent plant-based sources. These fats are crucial components of cell membranes and help produce compounds that actively resolve inflammation. Let's also talk about what to limit or avoid. Red meat and processed meats have been linked in some studies to an increased risk of prostate issues, possibly due to the way they are cooked at high temperatures. Dairy products in high amounts have also been flagged in some research, so moderation may be wise. And of course, sugar and refined carbohydrates are major drivers of inflammation throughout the body. Cutting back on sugary drinks, white bread, pastries, and processed snacks can have a system-wide anti-inflammatory effect that benefits your prostate. Finally, certain minerals are essential. Zinc is found in high concentrations in the prostate and is vital for its normal function. Excellent sources include pumpkin seeds, legumes, and shellfish. Selenium, another powerful antioxidant, can be found in Brazil nuts. In fact, just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day can often meet your daily requirement. Incorporating these specific, targeted natural remedies from your own kitchen is a powerful way to create an internal environment that supports prostate health from the inside out. Section 5. Harnessing nature's pharmacy, natural remedies for BPH. Beyond a foundational healthy diet, many men look to specific herbal supplements and natural remedies that have been traditionally used and, in many cases, scientifically studied for their role in supporting prostate health. It is crucial to remember to discuss any new supplement with your doctor to ensure it's safe for you and won't interact with any medications you're taking. Perhaps the most well-known and researched herb for BPH is saw palmetto, Serenoa repens. It's derived from the berries of a small palm tree native to the southeastern United States. It's believed to work in a few ways. Firstly, it appears to inhibit the enzyme 5-alpha reductase, the same enzyme targeted by some prescription BPH medications. This enzyme converts testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, DHT, a more potent form that is a primary driver of prostate growth. By reducing DHT levels within the prostate, saw palmetto may help slow enlargement and relieve urinary symptoms. Some users report improved urinary flow and reduced nighttime urination. Another important remedy is Pygeum africanum, which comes from the bark of the African plum tree. This extract has been used for centuries in traditional medicine. For urinary problems, research suggests it has anti-inflammatory properties and may help improve bladder emptying and reduce the frequency of urination. Both day and night beta-sityrol is a substance found in many plants, nuts, and seeds. It's a phytosterol or plant sterol with a chemical structure similar to cholesterol. It doesn't shrink the prostate, but it has been shown in multiple studies to be effective at improving urinary symptoms, particularly increasing the peak urinary flow rate. You can find it in supplement form or increase your intake through foods like pumpkin seeds, avocados, and pecans. Stinging nettle root is another traditional remedy that is often combined with saw palmetto. It is thought to work by interacting with hormones and proteins that bind to them, and it also possesses anti-inflammatory properties that can help soothe urinary tract symptoms. These natural remedies are not magic bullets, but they can be powerful allies when combined with a healthy diet and the lifestyle changes we're discussing. They form a key part of a holistic approach that empowers you to take action on multiple fronts. They work to soothe the gland from the inside, making it less susceptible to the external aggravation we're about to solve. Section 6. The solution, the path to quick relief. The great news is that the ultimate solution isn't about stopping a natural act or depriving yourself of pleasure. It's about adapting. It's about being smarter and more in tune with your bodies. Current reality. You can make a few simple but profound changes starting tonight that can lead to a huge reduction in your symptoms, often very quickly. The central idea is to transform this habit from a source of chronic irritation into a practice of genuine, healthy, and restorative release. This is a multi-pronged approach. First, you must address the mechanical issue. Change your technique. The magic word here is gentle. You must consciously let go of that tight, aggressive death grip. The goal is to resensitize your nerves so you don't need all that friction and force to feel pleasure. Try using a high-quality, body-safe lubricant and a much lighter, more exploratory touch. Focus on the sensations over a wider area, not just on intense, targeted friction. This single change immediately lowers the physical tension and jarring. Vibrations in your pelvic area, taking direct pressure off the prostate and allowing the chronic inflammation to finally begin to go down. Second, you need to adjust your frequency. This requires honesty and listening to your body. There is no magic number. If your urinary symptoms are really flaring up, try cutting back for a week or two and just see how you feel. Keep a small journal. Note your symptoms in the morning. The point isn't to enforce a rigid rule of complete abstinence, but to find a personal rhythm that gives your body adequate time to recover. Give your prostate a break. You might discover that every other day, or just a few times a week, is the sweet spot that gives you all the psychological benefits of stress relief, without the frustrating physical side effects. Third, and perhaps most powerfully, practice mindfulness. Change your entire mindset about the act. Instead of a rushed, goal-oriented mission, treat it as a form of mindful self-care, much like meditation or stretching. Slow down, breathe deeply. Pay close attention to your body's signals. If you feel any hint of pain, aching, or discomfort in your lower abdomen or perineum, that's your body talking to you. It's telling you to be more gentle or perhaps to stop for now. This approach directly breaks the cycle of guilt and shame we discussed earlier. Masturbation is a normal, healthy activity that is proven to lower stress hormones like cortisol and boost your mood. By letting go of any residual guilt, you let go of the urgency and franticness, which naturally allows for a much more relaxed, gentle, and prostate-friendly experience. Many men who make these simple but profound shifts a gentler touch, a mindful and relaxed approach, and a frequency that respects where their body is at today report feeling tangible relief almost right away. They notice a stronger, more consistent stream, less pressure and urgency during the day, and best of all, a significant reduction in the number of trips to the bathroom in the middle of the night. CTA, call to action if any of this, the frustration, the nightly interruptions, the feeling of being at the mercy of your own body is hitting home for you, and you're ready to take back some real, tangible control over your prostate health. I want to challenge you. Try this for just 1 week. Commit to the gentler, more mindful approach we've outlined. Incorporate a few of the immune-boosting foods we discussed, like pumpkin seeds or a tomato sauce. Just for 7 days, pay close attention to your body and see how you feel. And if you found this information helpful, if it opened your eyes to a new possibility for relief, please do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're all about sharing deep dive insights that empower you to take charge of your own health journey with practical, actionable knowledge. And please don't forget to share this video with a friend, a brother, or your father, anyone who might be struggling with this in silence. You never know whose life and whose sleep you might change. Conclusion: for years, perhaps for decades, men have been told that waking up all night is just their fate after 60. They've been conditioned to accept a weak stream, constant pressure, and nagging discomfort as a non-negotiable part of aging they simply can't change. But the truth, the empowering truth, is that you have way more control than you've been led to believe. You are not a passive victim of your own aging process. The problem for so many often isn't just the existence of an enlarged prostate. It's the constant, hidden, and completely unintentional irritation from a lifelong habit that hasn't been updated or adapted for an aging body. The solution is not about giving up a fundamental source of pleasure and stress relief. It's about refining it, evolving it, and making it work for the body you have today. By shifting from a forceful, unconscious habit to a gentle, mindful practice, and by supporting that change with a healthy diet and smart natural remedies, you're not just helping your prostate, you're fundamentally honoring your body. You are consciously replacing a source of chronic irritation with an act of true self-care. Take this knowledge, and don't just let it be interesting information. Put it to the test. You have the power to calm your symptoms, to reclaim your comfort, to restore your energy, and to finally get your sleep back, and that transformation can all start tonight.